If you're thinking about getting into model railroading or you're already an addict, boy do we have a project for you. Today we get into the zone, the track zone, and it starts right now. Welcome to It's My Railroad, the how-to show for regular people. If you haven't already done it, can you push that subscribe button? We have so many more of these episodes coming up. We're having so much fun making them. People really enjoy watching them. I don't want you to miss a single thing. For example, today what we're going to do is we're going to sort of dry fit the track into the logging camp, and then we're going to trace around it so we know where it goes in preparation of getting some scenery built. Now, I don't want to spoil the surprise for you, okay? You're just gonna have to watch it for yourself. So I really don't have much else to say today, and you don't want to hear me talk anyway. What you want to see is what we're doing in the hobby room. So let's head over there right now. Hey, welcome back to the hobby room and to the BSR. Boy, did we miss you. A couple things to cover here real quick. First of all, I got to run my trains. Man, it was fun. I had trains going round and round. I was doing switching operations. Sadly, not so much with logs and lumber, but I got to do a lot of other stuff. And frankly, I'm in this hobby for the trains, man. The rest of it's kind of cool and all, but I love running my trains, as you guys know. Second of all, I did some work on the layout. Sometimes I can't help myself, and I just go ahead and do things and then go, oh, I should have saved this for video. Let me get you caught up real quick, and then we'll get to some new stuff we're going to work on today. First of all, and the most obvious, if you've been watching, and I hope you have, because you're subscribing, right? If you've been watching these videos, you'll see that last time we put this piece in here, glued that down, we're going to extend the logging camp out onto there. After that, I was thinking, you know, I want to keep going. So I went ahead and cut in the tunnel portal. I went ahead and added this top piece over the tunnel. I put a little piece of styrofoam in here that's going to continue this rock face up and around and kind of down into like a little valley kind of thing. Haven't quite figured that out yet. I also added some pieces of styrofoam down here that are going to be extending this hillside, and basically turn this into some kind of mountains. Now, I did not put this piece in. Again, I want to get my track up on here. I'm going to figure out where that's going to go. Run the wiring down so I still have access down in there to get it through the hole to make up the bottom. Then we'll just load a bunch of chunks of styrofoam on there, start carving it up like a Thanksgiving turkey, and make some really nice rocks out of it. One of the other things I did was back here. You may recall that when we pulled all the track out, there was a turnout up here, and we snipped right behind the turnout and pulled all that out. The intention was to be able to extend this piece out and join it up with track for the new logging camp. Since then, though, I exercised a little model's privilege and decided that I wanted the turn to be a little sharper coming off this bridge to bring the track out closer. And this was pretty much a straight piece of track. That would have put the straight piece all the way out to here. Then we bend it, then we put in a turnout. I would almost be duplicating the same problem we had before. So I went ahead and just took the track off all the way back to the hillbilly bridge. A little tough to see because it's way back in there, but this little piece of track is hooked in there right now. Now, let me tell you a little something about this little piece of track. That is a little pre-curved track segment from Atlas. Now, as you know, I use Pico track pretty much on the layout, but I'm using that one from Atlas because I had it left over from back in my glory days of beginning model railroading. And here's the thing, I want to put a curved piece there, and we're going to add like another piece in there. And the reason I want to do that, I have learned that if I try to use a piece of flex track and bend it around and go right into a turnout, a lot of times what will happen is I will end up with this sort of cocked thing right here where they join up, and there's not a smooth transition. These are already bent, already curved, and all we got to do is pretty much hook stuff to them. So that's another thing that I did. I cut that back. If you look way back in here, I'm going to show you a little something that we're going to do. This is a log, quote unquote, that I made, sitting on logs, quote unquote, that I made. And I want to share that with you a little bit because this is representative of what I'm hoping to do on the top of the layout. This is a sort of mock-up slash diorama of what I'm hoping to do with the track throughout the logging camp. Now, I'm going under the assumption that these are temporary rails. They've got to worry about mud and rain, and the rails need to kind of be lifted up. I'm almost thinking of making one just big sort of, I'm going to call it a land bridge. Now, I don't know for sure if that's 100% prototypical, but you know my motto, it's my railroad, and I think it's pretty cool anyway. So what this little diorama shows you right here, this is obviously a little track segment here. And underneath it, there's a log that I made right here. And then underneath that, sitting here buried in the dirt, there are other logs that those logs sit on. Now the other logs that it sits on kind of look like this, if you can see that. I'd have you zoom in, but you probably can't, right? Okay. And then the longer pieces of log are kind of looking like this. Now, the thing is, I painted them, I weathered them. When we get to doing this, I'm going to show you how I did that. But come the end of the day, you can see that I put all this scenic material down here. I even have a fake tree right there, by the way. That's just a stump sticking up. This is real, actual dirt that I grabbed from a job site. I've used it in a couple places on the layout. And actually, the thing about this dirt is it started out like 2 shades lighter, like twice as bright as this. But once you actually add the alcohol kind of glue mix to it, it gets dark like that. I like that dark look. That kind of looks like a muddy kind of in the mountains look. Anyway, so the dirt is kind of mixed in through here, covering these up. Later on the layout, we'll have the dirt come up higher. We'll have it go lower and then have more pieces underneath here. Anyway, that's my concept. Again, I don't know 100% if this is prototypical. It just seems like it could make sense. And I just want to do something different up here. Like I said, I've got ballasted rails all over this sucker. And I just want to do something different. So that's what we can look forward to when we get up in this area. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is get all this stuff out of the way and then think about how the track's going to get laid out. And here's why I want to do that. I kind of want to know where my track is going. Maybe not at the exact detail level, but pretty close. Because I have determined we're going to have kind of a hillside back here, kind of one back here, might have some structures on it, might not, have some trees, something. But we kind of need to know where the track is so we can put that styrofoam in, get the sculpt mold in, and blah, 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 before we put the track on there. Now here's the thing, there have been times I was in such a big hurry, I just went ahead and laid the track, and what ended up happening was I was cleaning sculpt mold off my rails, off my railroad ties, off the trucks of my trains. Not a great place to be. So I don't want to do that. So like I said, last episode, we'll do things a little out of sequence. We'll get these in the basic shape, probably sculpt mold them, maybe not because I get excited. And then get the wiring done, then we'll come in and do all of this stuff down here. So that's just kind of the way I do it. Maybe it's the regular guy way, maybe it's the stupid way, I don't know. It's how I do it though. So let's get to laying out the rails and I'll show you how I do it. And maybe there's something you can get from this too. All right, let's lay out some track. Now, you know we went ahead and took that straight piece off when I put this curved piece in here, okay? What I think we should do now is continue that over to the first turnout. Now, what I like to do, and what I've seen a lot of other guys do, as a matter of fact, the first person I saw do this was David Popp with Model Railroader Magazine, is get this piece of track lined up exactly where I want it, and that's butted right up to the hillbilly bridge right now. And then I'm going to run these 2 pins right down into here like this to hold that piece of track right there. That's kind of like a key point, wouldn't you say? And, you know, a sidebar, the beauty of using styrofoam on the top of this is you can just stick these pins right in. If it was wood, it's a little harder to get them in there. I've bent a few trying it. Let's get a couple more out here. So then the next thing I'll do, and I'm not going to use rail joiners right now. We're just going to lay the track out, trying to get an approximation of where everything's going to go. So we take that other curve that I wanted to use, and I'm going to line it up as best I can with the one that's already there. And then this one we'll probably put 4 pins in just to hold it in place. Now, to some of you, if this seems like overkill, then it's overkill. It's my railroad, and this is how I do it. I'm a regular guy. I ain't a pro. I never even graduated high school. Just kidding, I did graduate high school. Anyway, put this in like this. And there you go. Look at that. We're laying track into the new logging camp. But you see how this turn's already developing right here? It's like a sharper turn. If I had to bend that track over, I think when we put the turnout in, what we're going to end up with is this little kink right here. And I've got that problem on other parts of the layout. It's really been a pain. I had to go fix some things, and yeah, let's not get into details. So I'm going to go ahead and just lay that turnout right about where I think we want it, which is right there. Now again, I kind of want to hold that in place as we continue the track along. So I'll grab me some more of these pins. I got a bunch of them, by the way. These pins are cool. And put that one in there. And that one in there. And we'll put one over here. Oh, I moved the turnout. Hold on. Here, that's lined up. One here. And put one here. All right, well, look at that. We've come across the bridge and we're heading down towards the logging camp. Now remember, I want some kind of a hillside back here. We're going to have some kind of a continuation of this hillside here. That's why we kind of need to know where this track is going as we move forward. So let's move the camera angle a little bit so we can continue this into another section of layout that's going to have the warehouse in it and supplies and just kind of the place people hang out over here. Now we can continue the track along here right up to about this point, and here's why. This right here is where this part and this part of the layout join underneath. So I don't have this actually secured, and I don't want to go too far back because we're going to get into where the logs load, and I don't want to be, if I have to move, snipping and leaving, you know, 2 inches of track. So I think what I want to do is just bring this around and stop it right about there, and then if I ever move, I can just snap the skull to mold here on the top, and away you go. So what I've done is I got a little short piece of Pico Flex track here, and I'm going to take it, I'm going to kind of bend it up here a little bit to get kind of a curve going in it. Now I kind of have this weird thing going with the railroad ties sticking out there a little bit, so I'll tell you what we're going to do. We'll just go ahead and bend this the other way, like this. Get a start on it. See that bending like that? And get that little piece in kind of lined up with how it comes off the turnout like that. And then again, we'll take some pins. Let's get a few of them out here. We're going to be using them, right? And I will pin this down right here, here. And now watch this. I want this to be a little straight coming off of there to help out with that whole kinked problem I was telling you about before. So I'll make it a little bit straighter. Now, again, we're going to adjust this a little bit when we actually lay track. I'm not trying to get too ridiculous about this now. I just kind of want to get it close to where we're going to put it. And then it'll come around, I don't know, straight like that? Maybe. I don't know. It can come straight, and then we can put the structures up in here maybe, put the hillside back from there. Although I'm kind of thinking maybe we should put this piece in, see how it transitions over, because over on that side of the layout we are actually going to put the log loader. That's not going to be on this side of the layout. So why don't I get the bigger piece of track, and we'll go ahead and see how that fits in to see what we want to do there. I got some pins in the way over there. We're just going to move them back over there for now. And I don't know, let's see how we want this to go. Perhaps I want it to continue straight for a while, right, off the turnout. So I know we're going to put this here. So let's just go ahead and quote unquote nail this down, shall we? Let's put a pin in there. And well, let's get a little congested up here. We got pins everywhere. Looks like a pin cushion. Here, put one here. All right, that'll kind of hold that in place. Now I think, actually, what do you say we come out straight, make a nice sharp turn to get in the logging camp? That'll get us out a little closer to the front. Although on this side right in here, I'm thinking we'll end up kind of smoothing this down a little bit to kind of make like it's dropping off of the hill and then continue back here. I haven't quite figured that out yet. But let's just say for now, we are going to leave this like this. We'll go ahead and pin this into position. I'm going to stick one up here. You can't see that one so good, but it's going to hold that in place. So I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so moving further down the layout, I think this is where we're going to load our logs, right over here. We'll have this cool log loader kind of ramp set up, maybe about 15 feet scale wide. Now in the picture we're using for reference, it's much deeper than that. But there has to be some kind of trade-off when you're talking about a shelf railroad, and we can't do everything according to the prototype. Matter of fact, that's one of my pet peeves. Anyway, so the logs can get loaded on over here. Maybe there can be some kind of a path coming up through here that the horses will follow. We got to figure out a way for the horses to get out of there. Well, we'll figure that out when we get there. Maybe this track can go here. And it's kind of holding there by itself, but I think what I'd like to do is go ahead and shove some pins in there to make sure she doesn't move around at all. That looks pretty good. And then what I think I want to do, I really like the idea of this being the place the supplies come into, and the water and men, and this is sort of where they hang out over here. But then back here is where all the work gets done. And to do that, I might want another siding right here so we can switch cars back here or up here, depending on the demand. So to do that, we need to put in another turnout. So a couple ways we can do this. If I've got this one upside down because I don't have right in front of me a right-handed turnout. This is a left-handed turnout, and I don't think, well, maybe coming out left is not a bad idea out of there. But let's see, here's how I want to know, or here's how we're gonna know. Remember I told you I only had room for like 3 logging cars in the old logging camp, and it kind of sucked. So here's what I got. Let's put some rail cars down here. Let's say there's one there. Let's say there, there, and there, and there. What I got here now is I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 logging cars getting ready to be loaded, not just sitting on the side of the track. That helps us out quite a bit. I can get more logging cars up here. I even have room at the tail end for, you know, if they stick out a little too far. Perhaps if we just pull this turnout back a little bit more. Well, let's pull it back maybe and we go the other way with it. How do you feel about that? I kind of like that. There. So what we've got now is I can even maybe get a 6th car on here. I'm really excited to report, by the way, that I ordered online a couple of sets of the disconnect log cars. Basically, it's a truck that joins a truck until there's a log, and then you spread them out and put a log. It's going to be fun. A new way to do operations up here, in addition to the skeleton cars and the pulpwood car. Anyway, so this turnout sitting here might be what we're after. Don't want to get too close to the front of the layout because I'm concerned that when we start hacking this off, there won't be enough between here and the track to make a nice kind of sharp but yet sloping hillside. I've got an idea for that I'll show you when we get there. Let me grab another piece of track real quick. And what we'll do on this piece of track is go ahead and set it in place. It's going to need a little curve on one end. I'll just pre-curve it a wee bit. And it's too long, but I'm just going to set it in here and just pretend it's not too long. And it's going to go like, kind of like right there, I think. Come out a little bit more, maybe. Not too close to the other track. You know, we might even be able to work in some kind of a pretend elevation change there to make them seem like they're on the side of a hill. But just for the crack up of it, I'm going to go ahead and just put this turnout down onto the styrofoam like we've done everything else. And this one, well, I got a big hole right there we're going to have to fill in later. But so let's put this one in and put these in and put this one. Well, you know, it's staying there. We don't need pins for the rest of it, not for what we're doing. So look at what we've got here. We actually have a place to put our buildings right here. Perhaps we can get right behind them just sort of a hillside going that we can set some of the cabins on. Or actually, there's an area out here, maybe some of the cabins or living quarters can go out. We'll have to see how that develops as we move forward. But ultimately, when we get down to eye level right here, you want to be able to see what's going on. Remember, that was a problem we had before, is you couldn't see what was going on back in the logging camp. That's why this whole thing is getting redone. Okay, so now the whole reason we did this was to kind of know where the mountains and stuff are going to go in the back. So let's get this out of the way for right now. And I don't think we need our pins right now. So kind of what I want to do then is figure out where I want mountains. I think I want to continue this hillside out, maybe about this far. Have it come back so we can have some kind of a way for the horsies to come in. And then we'll have like a hill that comes kind of up like that. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and determine where the track is loosely with this Sharpie. And I'm just running down there, giving me a margin of where I know the track is going to be, or close to where it's going to be when we actually lay the track. Look at this. We're just doing this, doing this. Again, I am not trying to get exact right here. I am just trying to know the zone that the track's going to be in. See, because even right now we can see that there's a zone here for track and there's a zone here for track. What goes on in here? I guess we'll find out together when we get there. There might be some kind of little hillside we want to put in here to kind of separate them, but anything we put here that's tall is going to block the view of this. So maybe a few trees that are dead, maybe some grass in there, some shrubbery, something. We'll figure that out when we get there. So now we've done all of that work, and I'm just going to pull it back out. Because like I said, I really want to get my backdrop of hillside in. Track's just going to be in the way. So we'll just go ahead and just pull all this out right now. Just pull all the pins out. So there you go, back to where we started the episode with. Almost looks like we didn't get anything done, but what we see here is the track zones. And so now what we can do is go ahead and start cutting that styrofoam and putting it back here to make that hillside. Okay, so we got our track zone laid out. We know that we're gonna have some hillside situation going there. We're probably gonna have some buildings back over here, structures back over there. Log ramp loader platform going right here. So I guess the next thing to do is to go ahead and start cutting out and laying styrofoam for the hilly backdrop we're gonna make. He's so dreamy. Anyway, there you go. We got some track kind of laid out, kind of know where the scenery is gonna go. We're gonna see some momentum now picking up in future episodes, which reminds me, if you have not pushed that subscribe button, let's do it right now. You don't want to miss any of the exciting, riveting episodes coming up in the future. And if you liked this video, can you just push that like button? Let everybody know how excited you are about It's My Railroad. And lastly, if you've got any comments, if you've got any suggestions, man, we are so open to that. Just put them down in that comment section and I'll get back to you right away, okay? Now let me ask you this. If you haven't started building your model railroad yet, what are you waiting for? You ain't getting any younger. So anyway, that's it for now. Thanks again for watching. My name is Steve Brown, and I will see you next time.